G'day, welcome back to Short Shift Garage, and in this video I relocate the battery in my Ford XH Falcon. So this is the battery tray obviously that we're going to be removing. Someone's already hacked at it before to put a bigger battery in it. I'm going to try and keep the coolant headed tech where it is for now. I've got new hoses to go in for the overflow. That's the short one that goes to the rad, and then the long one that goes to the thermostat. So I'll get rid of those hoses that are out of my way, and then I'm just going to try and find where the spot welds are. I think there's two down here that hold the lower base. There's two sections, the top plate that's onto a lower base. But I also want to keep this back wall because that's pretty much what's retaining the header tank. So I'll go through now and get rid of those hoses, undo any fittings that are bolted to this. There's the power steering lines bolted to it, and then I'll try and drill out these spot welds. Just used a spot weld drill bit. I think it was 8mm. Let's have a look. Yeah, there it is there. One was probably the best one because it had rust behind it. So as soon as you cut through the first layer, you've seen the rust line, which means you were through enough. The other ones had to go a little bit more, and then all I did was just get the multi-grips and just twist it and pop. There's a little bits that I missed in the corners of the spot weld. If you're off a little bit, you'll miss it, and then just pop that out. So that bit's done. But that'll separate it from that bottom plate that I've already drilled out. But because it's layered, I kind of need to get those off and see what it's looking like, because like I said, I want to keep this plate, so I need to separate that somewhere and then probably bend it back down a little and just weld it back or screw it back on itself. Seven extra spot welds other than those 4, so drill those out. Went a bit far in certain spots, but that's alright, we can weld that up. Just, you can see in there, just a bit far. Missed that one a little bit, and same with that one, a bit rusty under there, but we can fix that. And then yeah, this is that support down here, so there's pretty much only that other one that picked up the battery tray as well that we need to go through. So just pretty much one other than those 4 down the bottom, and that there's 3 holding that in. So I'll just get that one, and then yeah, we need to fix that back to itself. Need to give this a good clean out. Looks like there was one there that I missed. Yeah, there was. So I missed one. It was down there. So we just end up just snapping it because of how rusted it was. But we can weld that up. But I'm not going to worry too much about welding it up now. I'm just going to clean it up and probably leave it. Because I need to figure out, one, where the intercooler hose is going to come through as well. And then 2, where I'm going to put my bulkheads for the battery, because obviously the battery's going to go in the back, so we'll just put a bulkhead for the positive, maybe on here somewhere, probably on the other side, and then probably the same. I don't know if I'm going to run an earth all the way from the front to the back. I might. I don't think you'd need to. It just needs to be earthed out, and then I'll need to earth the battery out to the chassis, but I'll get this off. I'll give this a bit of a clean up. Should probably throw some degreaser around in here as well and give it a bit of a pressure clean. But, okay, so I've just tacked off things that I do not want to get wet. I'm not going to spray them directly, but I'm going to throw some degreaser around and just pressure clean. got a nice little hole down here. That's the pre-cut hole for where the intercooler pipe's coming from by the looks of it. I've got the bracket back in. I was going to weld it. I've ended up just using a self-tapper for now. It's nice and sturdy. Because I don't know if I'm going to change it with intercooler piping or anything like that yet. But even then, probably just going to leave that anyway, even if I do need to modify it. Still at the rust down in here that I still need to clean up, but I'll do that once the intercooler piping's ran through. I'll just clean that up and then just hit it with some paint, probably just black or something. So what I need to do now is I just need to go grab some bulkheads. I'm just going to grab a positive and a negative. They'll go on the back side of here. 2 cables for the positive. That's the battery. That's the so that's the starter motor wire, and that's the cranking wire from the relay. So they'll go in, and then there'll be a cable that comes from the back into that as well. And same with the negative. Earth that back out, and that'll earth out to the block. So yeah, I just need to grab some parts to do that, and then also need to start fitting it out fitting the battery. I need to get a battery tray as well to fit out into the back. So I just need to remove these 4 bolts here, and then I can lift out this fuel cover. So this is where the battery is going to be going. It is near the fuel tank. People reckon do not put it anywhere near the fuel tank, but this is where it's going to go. If anything, I might just make a divider to go down from here, which is only I think 150mm. But at the moment, this is where it's going to go. Hopefully we don't explode and go bang bang. So I've marked it out where I want it. I'm just going to use some riv nuts to fit it. And then I'll need to put a riv nut somewhere down the body for the ground as well. I'll just go through now, drill these and fit these in. Alright, so with these riv nuts, if you haven't used one before, they're a very nice bit of kit. See how you can see down there, you can see the thread, and see at the start there's probably what, 8mm of no thread. Once you ratchet it down and compress it, it pulls the thread right to the top. And it doesn't spin. That pretty much is when you know it's all good. Yes, this one's a lot offset forward because I wanted to miss the ribs, and I've got slots in the battery tray anyway, so that's all good. I just got this last one to put in, so it just needs a bit more this one. Unbelievable. Holes line up. You'll just get your bolt. These are just M8s. And throw them in. So I've just put a riv nut in to the chassis rail. That'll be the earth. I did sand the paint off behind the flange of the riv nut so it gets good connection. And then I also need to put one up in the engine bay later on as well. Just finished mounting the resettle circuit breaker as well. 200 amp should be enough for the size wire we're using. Just 2 M6 bolts on that one at the back, just through there. And they're a clamp style, so I'll just have to crimp the positive on the battery terminal going in, and then clamp it out, and then on the way out clamp it out and then run it through. I just need to figure out if I'm going to go through that grommet hole and go down, or drill a hole in that backboard and run it through the car. Pretty much just need to go check the engine bay and see which way is going to be easier. I can get it through the cab, I'd probably prefer that. Come up through the firewall and keep it away from where the exhaust is going to be. But yeah, we'll have a look at that and then we'll go from there. So I've just started to run this cable through the car. So this is pretty much what I'm going. There's just a grommet down in here where all the factory wiring harness comes through. So I've just followed that through, gone down under this block. I'm going to probably mount about here. and then yeah, crank him up there, and obviously the overflow bottle is going to go here. Should still be able to do the old reach around down in here and get it if you need it. The negative I'm actually going to probably put on this side, just so then it's not interfering with that cable. So that'll probably go here somewhere. I'm only just around the front half at the moment. It was a bit of a nightmare getting it through that grommet, just cutting it. Had to move all this stuff. It's a bit tricky getting that through. Hopefully I haven't read, because I was leaning on this a little bit. Hopefully if I ever get to start this thing up, I don't have a starting issue, because if I have a starting issue, it might be just these old wires. So hopefully that doesn't become an issue, but we'll see once we get to it. And then this is 0 gauge, so it's a pretty big wire coming down here along the seal panel. And then I just need to belt a hole down through here where I've just marked it. I'll put a grommet in there, and then we'll come up and then into this side of the circuit breaker, and then you just piece that all back together and terminate it out. What I've also done, obviously because the fuel tank's there, I've actually made up some pieces here. I went to old Steve's house and he bent this up for me, and this, so I'm going to try and enclose it, well not enclose it, but kind of seal it off from the fuel tank. This little piece here is going to go down there. That little bit here is up in here, there's just a bit of a gap there, and then that bigger black piece is going to go on this side down. Just going to bolt them in, and then use some black silicone to go around them, and just try and seal it more from the fumes. The reason I'm putting a little bit here as well, because then I'm going to run a thick piece of foam down the middle, and that should kind of pretty much really seal it off, vapor wise, fume wise, from the fuel tank, just to add a protection. And also just going to put some standard plastic covers on the terminals as well, and obviously got the resettable fuse there, which we'll kind of use as an isolator as well when we're disconnecting and reconnect the battery. Didn't film any of that really, but all I did is just use some cardboard as templates, measured it up roughly, got it there, and then yeah, hit it, traced it out a bit, test fit, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just use the cardboard for all that to get it. So I'll probably go through now and just fit those. I think there's 3 bolts going through in that top one. The rest I'm just gonna, then I'll just run around a bead of silicone, just some black Sikaflex around it, and hopefully that'll seal it to an extent, just to try and keep it separated. Obviously no grommet down there as well, so they'll get a bit of airflow coming through as well. And then I'm not going to really worry too much about the seal around the cover on the outside, so that'll just be a small breathing path as well. But get in, get that done, got to get that grommet done as well, and then we'll pay my attention to try and just finishing off routing this cable, and then start terminating it out. And then I've just got to get all the seats and stuff back in there. I have the main feed cable to the block. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the original wiring, so that's your starter motor and that's your charge from the alternator. They're a bit small. I'm going to try and put them into 150 to 8 lug and then heat shrink it. Pretty much exactly what I've done there, but that's just the one cable. So yeah, so I'm going to just try this, just keeping the factory wiring from here out. The only way I'm going to see if I'm going to have any issue with reusing these is if I get a voltage drop from the battery to here, and then we may not be able to crank, and then charging back might be an issue. But to me it shouldn't be too bad, because this is the factory cable, so it's the same distance from there to there, and if we hold the voltage through the cable, which being that big we shouldn't get any drop. So I'm going to see if I can get this on those. If not, I'll just have to do 2 different ones. But at the moment, that means I have to go buy some, because at the moment this is all I have. I'm going to try this one and see if I can get it on. So this is the current setup that I've done so far. Positive into this resettable fuse, and then out towards the front of the car to that distribution block. I did jump on a couple pages on Facebook, and This is only a 200 amp fuse, and a lot of people reckon on theirs I've put these in before, and when cranking they're tripping because you're pulling more. You're pulling about 250, 300ish or whatever on crank apparently, and yeah, people are saying they've got issues with these. So I'm going to replace that and swap that out with a 300 amp ANL fuse. And then the other thing that I don't like about this is that it doesn't actually have any crimps on it, so the wire's just going straight in, and that's alright because I've fixed that one. But this other one, it's just dangling, so the weight is down in there on that terminal pretty much. So that's the other reason I don't like it. I did really want a fuse in there that I could turn on and off, but I've just gone this ANL one for now. Figure out where I'm going to put it, and just going to have to put a crimp on these cables. Probably have to make another one off the positive, but I'll go through now and just get this in place. So that's it, that's the battery mounted. Our cable ran just in the boot area, the tray area. That's the fuse down there, just mounted that to the battery tray. Rerouted the cable. But yeah, that's done. It is starting to rain now, which is good because I'm done in here. Just got to modify the tank cover, put a little gate or lid up here so I can get it when I'm outside of the car. I can just lean over and get in there if I need to and change the battery out or disconnect it, reconnect it without having to take this whole cover off. Still got to make a ground cable at the front of the car. So I have got the fuel tank cavity cover here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little hatch here. It's about 300 by 400. I'm just going to put a couple hinges, and then I'm going to put just a compression latch in there as well. Make a little frame up underneath so it clamps down on. This is just so you can get to the battery without having to take this whole cover off. So it's going to go through now with the grinder and just cut it out. There is a couple supports running through here that I have to trim down as well. So I've got the hole cut out where this hatch is going to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get some 25 by 25 by 3mm angle and make a frame up on this underside here. So when I've cut the hole out, I've also come through, and these supports I've checked out a bit as well. So the angle is going to sit down in here, hard up again, down on this, and go up against here. It's going to stitch weld it in. But yeah, so I'll get those bits, I'll measure it up now, cut it out, miter it, tack it up, place it down, and then maybe tack it in place. And then for the lid, it's going to probably box the outside either with, it's probably going to be 20mm. We'll see how it's going to measure up, 25 or 20mm. We'll see what gap we're going to have from the top down to the angle where it'll sit. I do have 25mm flat bar there by 3, but we'll get this under section tacked up first and in place. Then we'll look at the lid. That is welded up. I have tacked it in place. I'm just going to go through now and run a couple of stitch welds along it, and that'll be that done. I did use 25 angle by 3. 3mm is probably overkill. Something a bit lighter would be plenty. 1.5, 1.2 or something like that. But yeah, that'll do. And then this is the lid pretty much. I've boxed it out as well. Again, 25 by 3mm flat bar. But I'll probably have to cut the height of it down. Once I get that welded in, I'll sit it down and see how it's going to sit on the top of this to sit flush with the original lid. So I'll probably have to cut, I think it's maybe 2 or 3mm off the height. Again, doesn't have to be that heavy duty. It's probably a little bit of overkill. but that'll be fine anyway. This is only tacked up as well, so this has to be welded out as well. And then probably going to put some hinges. I've only got little cheap hinges. That's going to be fine for now. I'm probably going to just put 2 on it. But yeah, we'll get that welded out first, stitched up, weld this out, flip it over and see how much I'm going to trim this up. And then I've also got to put the latch in as well, but we'll get in and weld that up now. So I've got that all welded up, the frame into the cover. This is tacked in, hinges tacked on, holes drilled, it all lines up pretty well. I ended up cutting about 3mm off the height of this overall. Now I'm just going to go through, I've marked my hole for my compression latch. Just going to use the grinder and cut that out the best I can. And then yeah, bolt it all up. Still got to weld this out. And then that'll be done also. Just got to get a seal that I'm going to put down there, maybe a 3mm just foam adhesive back seal. And then this will push down on it. But yeah, I'll get this cut out and get that compression latch in. So the hatch, the cover is installed, painted. I did colour match the green the best I could. I'm pretty sure I came pretty close with the colour match. It's nearly spot on, you can't really tell the difference. But yeah, she's done. She's a little bit tight, but that'll be alright for what we're doing. I do want to put a seal around there, just an adhesive back seal down around at that angle. Just about a 3mm thick or something like that. But other than that, she's ready to go back in. All I have left to do now is to make the 2 earth cables from the chassis to the distribution block and from the chassis to the engine block. I'm only going to make one, and that's going to be from the chassis to the block, sorry, to the distribution block. I will do the one from the chassis to the engine block once the engine's in the car, so I get the right length and don't waste cable. So I'm just going to go and show you through now how I've been doing it, how I've done it from all the way to the back of the car. I've just been crimping them, 2 crimps per lug, no soldering, no hydraulic crimper. So I'll go through now and just start doing one. I'll do the first one, then go out and measure it. So all I've been doing is got the cable, 0 gauge cable. I haven't got a fancy wire strip, I've just been using the Stanley knife. Pretty much just get this, figure out your length all the way into the lug, and then just cut it with your Stanley knife. You just want to be careful you don't go too far through and hit the strands. These are very fine strands, so a sharp Stanley knife will cut through it. Pulling it out, but not all the way. So you keep coming pretty much right to the end. Like so. You want to leave this there, and then what I like to do, just get it some tape. Put it on there nice and tight. 2 wraps is plenty. Cut your tape off. And what this does, done correctly, could have gone a bit further up, is hold all the strands together. This is a 50 by 8 lug, so 50 determines the wire size. It just keeps the strands together so it's easy to get this on. Now I've said that, it's probably going to be hard. Rightio, we've started to go on. Find where the start of your tape is, pull your tape off, push in on the wire, and then you keep all your strands in the lug so there's none squirting out or anything like that. Now you've done that, you get your crimpers, make sure they're set to the right size which is written on them. So this is a 50 size cable, so you go to a 50 crimp. get it on there, get it nice and firm, and then hold your cable and crimp. I like to do 2. These are a longer lug. So put 2 crimps on it. That'll hold it in place. Couple pulls, heat shrink, dual wall heat shrink, so it's got the glue on the inside as well. Just measure it roughly where you want it. There. Nice and tight. Slide your heat shrink over. Get your little gas burner. The little jet torches are a lot better. This takes a little while using this, but there you have it. That is one end done. I'll go through now and do the other end. Gone out, I've measured my cable length and the orientation I want my lug. I've just got these cocky cutters. This is how I've been cutting the cable. Open them up. Put the cable somewhere where you want it. Okay, follow your mark. Try and keep it somewhat straight. And with these bad boys, you just, that's it. As easy as that. There's other ways to cut it. They work very well. So I'll go through now. It's the same process as that one. And put this lug on it. So this is just where I've ran the negative cable, the earth cable. So that's the distribution block there. And then I have drilled and put a riv nut down in the chassis rail down here. So that's our main wire there. It goes from the chassis rail to that block, and then we will go from here to the engine block once the engine's in. Then also the factory cables I just put together and put in one single lug. There we have it. I've got that ground cable in. I've just got that one more to make once I get the block in, which will be in the future if we ever get to it. But yeah, that'll wrap this video up for now. That's one way to do it. I have seen that a lot of people do it where they run that positive cable straight to the starter motor just to avoid any voltage drop. I would have liked to go through now and measure the voltage drop from the battery, but I'll do that once everything's wired up and the engine's in. If we have any issues, we'll tackle it then. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if it helped, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the shed.